It's the Blaine Fowler Morning Show Afterglow podcast. Welcome, one and all. We have a massive delay on this thing, by the way. I mean, I'm not hearing it right now. I'm just explaining that for the listeners. How's everybody doing so far? Maddie, you're in the studio. Lauren, you're at home. I'm at home.
Yes, that is true.
How do you like it?
I don't mind working from home. I've never worked from home before. I find it enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean,
how do you feel about it?
it's good. I mean, my routine's not too different. I still got to get up and, come in, so I'm at least leaving the house.
Yeah.
Which helps, but when I have to go back home, it's when I'm not sure what to do with myself.
Because you finished your project, right? Your painting project.
Yeah, one room down, like 3 or 4 more to go, so luckily on to the next one.
Yeah, I mentioned this before. I miss my routine so much so that I went for a drive this morning before we did the show. Like at 3:45 in the morning, I just got my car and drove for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, no rules. You can drive whenever you want.
That's true. That's true. All right, found this online. It's COVID confessions. These are just some random things that people have said in regard to COVID. One person wrote, "I'm thankful to still be employed, but I wish I weren't considered an essential employee."
Oh, that's a good one. I actually kind of have a story.
I'm guessing what they mean. They mean by that. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's a player of ours who was doing an internship, and so he was doing it at an automotive supplier, and he was working 20 hours a week because he was also going to school. Well, the company then decided, hey, nobody's going to come in anymore, so, just stay home, and we're going to pay you every week for 32 hours. So he's actually getting paid 12 hours more to be home and not work. And they didn't give him remote access or anything like that because he's only at an intern level. But their minimum pay was this. Everybody at the lowest level is going to get 32 hours of pay.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
wow, he really lucked out in that situation.
Yeah. So he's at home just kind of making a 12 hours extra every week.
That's
what company is it? They can do that.
It's Denso. They're an automotive supplier.
Wow.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Took care of them.
Well, it's kind of the opposite. I mean, the news today, all the big companies have started announcing their furloughs and layoffs, and it seems to be going in the opposite direction for so many people. A friend of mine is a writer, and he just found out that everybody who writes for his publication has to take 1 week a month without pay. So they're all kind of alternating.
Jeez.
And, with the way the unemployment is right now, I don't even know if you can apply for partial. I don't know.
I don't,
how long it will take you to get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if your company says, hey, we need to furlough you 1 week a month, I don't think at this point I'd be pushing back too hard.
Right. Well, but you wouldn't get paid for that week too. So, it's kind of you do get that week where you don't have to work, but also you lose a week of pay.
Well, and the thing is what are you going to do for that week? It's not like you're going to go on a trip. It's not like you're going to go. I mean, maybe if you're one of those people who owns a place up north or something like that, you can go up north and hang out up there, but it's going to be basically more of the same, sitting inside a house, not really doing anything. I feel terrible for everybody in that position. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got people in healthcare who are working 16, 18-hour days, day after day after day after day, not seeing their families, putting their lives on the line, really, in many cases. I mean, it's just such a weird time.
Yeah, it's tough on both sides of the spectrum for people. There are a lot of people hurting right now.
If I had told you a year ago that this was going to happen, what would you have said?
I mean, I would have thought you were ridiculous, because I would have thought that we live in a country and in a world in 2020 where these kinds of things can be stopped. or these kinds of things can be put under control before, they go forward. And in my lifetime, there have been many things that I've lived through where I feel personally how small I really am in the grand scheme of things. I've felt that with Mother Nature. I've lived through a few hurricanes, and you're just standing there and you're like, at the end of the day, I really mean nothing on this planet compared to what she can do. Living through something like 9/11, which we all did, and just the gravity of that, and realizing how insignificant these little things that I stressed about in the day, really are compared to what else is going on in the world. And then now this, where it's like, you would think we live in the United States and we have all these research and all of these medical breakthroughs every single day and people doing wonderful things. And then all of a sudden, a little virus that started what they think in an animal, went to another animal, and then went to a person, can just do so much damage so quickly and literally stop the world.
Yes.
It's just unbelievable. And it just reminds me, like, in the grand scheme of everything, what we're like this big.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And then, you look for little beams of light, right? There's a guy that I follow. We met him a couple of years ago, you and I, Lauren, Craig Gass, the comedian, the guy who does the great Gene Simmons imitation. This is Gene Simmons from Kiss. Craig Gass is doing something on Facebook. He started this at the beginning of the year, 365 days of gratitude. And he writes something every day about someone who's had a positive impact on his life.
Yeah.
And another guy that we know, a lot of people know from the Carpet Guys, Joe Zago, is doing 21 days of gratitude. And I think that's a wonderful thing too. And it's funny because I just recently started journaling and just writing down things that I'm thankful for every day. Like, and I've told you guys this, I pray every day. Like, I pray out loud and I thank God for all my gifts and all the blessings that I have in my life. But I also think that writing it down gives it some sort of, I don't know, makes it a little more real, if that makes sense. I mean, you do this, right?
Yeah, I've been journaling for years off and on, and then especially when we lost Presley and coming out of the grief from that, I find that journaling helps me greatly, whether it's writing down all the negative stuff and getting it out, or rather reminding myself that there are things to be thankful for. And sometimes I need that. So I leave mine by my bed when I wake up every morning, whether it's one thing or five things. The first things that come to my mind. And there's science behind it, that when you start your day off with gratitude is the attitude, as they say, it can change the whole perspective of your day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just interesting though, when you see people doing things like that, and like you were saying earlier, it makes you feel small and insignificant when you see these terrible things happen. But at the same time, those little things that we can do either for ourselves or for other people, boy, that can go a long, long way in making a difference in somebody's life. Random smile, the random wave to your neighbors as you're going out on your walks. We're all outside now walking more than we ever have been. Those little gestures that we do, that means a lot.
Absolutely. And I think through all of this, it's hard to talk about the silver linings, because you don't want to or at least I feel like I don't want to discredit the hurt that people are going through who are sick, or people who have lost their jobs or what have you. But you see things like no smog in LA for 3 weeks, or you see the thermogenic maps over China and how there's just no heat over there right now. And, the conversation about our planet has been ongoing, and it just keeps feeling like it's just going downhill, this giant ball. And all of a sudden that kind of stuff feels like it's slowed down as well. So is that a silver lining in all of this? Are we appreciating a little bit more how much we do throw out into the atmosphere, we do throw out into the world, and how now it's just like, it's all kind of calming back. It's really interesting.
The water in Venice is clear for the first time in decades.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
All these little things, because we're not out and about so much. Okay, going back to these COVID confessions, another one this woman wrote, my kids are draining me so much. This is terrible. My kids are draining me so much, I'm starting to envy people who are in the hospital.
Ouch.
Jeez.
No, you're not. Take that back, lady. That is terrible. Okay, here's another one.
Wow.
My husband is sick. and has been self-isolated in our bedroom for over 1 week. I'm loving the peace and quiet in our house. I'm actually not sure if I'd ever miss him again.
Amazing.
There you go. I mean, here's the thing. These sound kind of shocking, but you do have to find the humor in it. You know what I mean?
For
you
sure.
do have to find the humor, because if we're just going to be focused on the seriousness all the time, we're all going to be stressed out.
Right. And listen, I was going to say, there's humor to be found in the way that people are trying to take care of themselves as well. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, glove up, mask up if that's what makes you feel safe. But I sent you guys a picture the other day of this woman who was grocery shopping with one of those dog cones like over her head, and then an entire sheet like inside of her cart so that germs like wouldn't touch anything. Like that is some next level like doomsday prepper stuff going on right there. Like, I mean,
I don't fault her though.
I mean, I guess not, but you can't help but look at her and laugh.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that person that always says what we're all thinking. She's that person that's doing what we all wish we could do, because that's how I feel when I walk into a grocery store. I wish I was in one of those gerbil bubbles, like those hamster wheel things that no one can touch me. Like, that's where I wish I was when I walk into a grocery store. She's just doing it.
You want to be John Travolta, the boy in the plastic bubble from way back in the day.
Yes, I feel like the minute I walk into any kind of public place now, my shoulders go up. I tense up, like I get small, because I don't want to be contaminated,
Yeah,
and
no.
he's just acting it out.
Like, Colleen went to the grocery store this morning. Like, she went there at 7 this morning so that we could get some toilet paper. By the way, she only got 1 pack. There was only 3 available.
1 pack of how many rolls?
I want to say 8.
Okay.
Family of 4. You guys might have to do another crib.
Yeah.
Things could get really interesting.
Start collecting leaves, kids.
Yeah, right? Luckily, there's plenty of them. But, like, I feel guilty for her to go to the grocery store instead of me.
Well,
do you feel like that? I should.
No, Lauren wants to send Michael on his own so she can stay home.
Michael wants to go. Like, he's the one that's like, I'll go. Like, he wants to hunt and gather during this crisis. And we will go together if we can, but he's good at, like, on the way home from work, he'll make all these little stops and I won't know anything about it. And he'll just come home with hand soap, paper towel. And I'm like, yes.
When he's making all these little stops, let's say he makes 3 stops on his way home from work. Is he wearing the latex gloves? Is he bringing wipes, all that stuff? Okay.
He has gloves. He has wipes in the car. He has the whole thing. He is definitely, he would be that woman, Matthew, in the grocery store if he could.
I mean, He's get it,
prepared.
But there's also points where, like, I don't get it, because I see the people that have the gloves on, and then there are also the people that are, like, touching their face or, like...
Right.
I mean, the gloves only help if you're also not going to touch your face. Right? Like,
I used the gloves for the first time when we went to Trader Joe's on this weekend. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use them. And I naturally did not touch my face because I felt like I'm reminded, because I have gloves on, that I'm supposed to be being careful. It was almost like, and the minute I got out of the store, I took them off carefully and I threw them right away. Like, I didn't even bring them in the car with me.
Right. Well, that's what I do. Like, I just have hand sanitizer in the car, like you were saying with Michael. So it's like, I don't do the gloves, but as soon as I get in the car, I get out the hand sanitizer, I put it on, and then I'm good. And then when I get home, I wipe down all the groceries in the garage before I go inside, and then take them all in the house.
All right. Now I'm starting to think I'm doing it wrong, because I don't have hand sanitizer in the car, nor do I have gloves.
You need at least one.
Well, we have the gloves because we have yet to be able to find hand sanitizer since all of this happened, and we don't normally keep hand sanitizer in the house. We just don't.
Yeah.
So we just don't have. The only time I've used hand sanitizer is the one we had in the studio that Maddie still has. Like, we have not had it, so that's why Michael got the gloves as kind of an alternate.
Yeah, because then you're thinking like, hey, I'm always keeping the inside of my car clean. Because if I wear the gloves on the outside and then don't wear the gloves on the inside, then then you're in the mindset of like, okay, it's safe. It's basically the same thing. Hand sanitizer or gloves, it's doing the same thing. At least in that sense.
Yeah. Yesterday I had to move Colin's car, and I get in there, and he's got gloves. I'm like, where the hell's he getting the gloves? How come he's got gloves and I don't have gloves?
You should get a box of gloves. They might be hard to find now.
That's true. Or I should find out where the family's keeping the stash, because clearly there's a stash.
But you should definitely, like when Colleen came home from the store today, especially if you didn't wear gloves, we do a wipe down of the whole car when we get back.
No. She did. And
Good.
she took her clothes off, threw them in the laundry like right away.
Yeah.
Like I went up there at some point, and she's like scooting on through really quick. I'm like, oh, hey.
Yeah. No, you have to. You have to. You can't mess with that because somebody could cough on your shirt or something.
Yeah, it felt weird. I was like basically,
that's true.
I felt like I was going through a contamination like line yesterday when I got home, because after I finally like wiped down all the groceries and stuff at the top of the stairs, just took my clothes off and same thing, like threw them down the landing towards the basement, and then was like, all right, like wipe my shoes off,
Yep.
wipe off my keys, wipe off my phone, wipe off my like money clip again, like go through that whole like rigmarole of everything, and then put on like a different pair of clothes. And it's like, man, this is like some next level stuff. Like that just added like a good half hour, 45 minutes to like my grocery routine. But you also have to think like, yeah, it could be way worse though. Like,
yeah, you could have it.
Or like, I couldn't be allowed to leave. Like maybe it would be a point where it was like, hey, you know what? Tough shit. We're locked down. Like martial law, this bad boy, like nobody out of your house. Like we could, it could be extreme cases. It could be that worse, but like, luckily we're in the scenario where it's only as bad as it is, which is still horrible, but we're still, able to move around if we have to.
Well, and I think the reason why they would never lock down the grocery stores and gas stations is because then you really would have riots. Because imagine
you would.
It's Tuesday and they said, okay, lockdown starts at midnight. I mean, people would be going insane.
Oh, yeah.
And I just feel like
purge.
Yeah, I just feel like for public health and safety, I would rather risk going out, standing near people when I have to, trying to do my best in public as I can, and at least knowing it's going to be a calm experience rather than like having to deal with people just going nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I have a COVID confession, it's that I feel almost guilty for how insulated and how smoothly everything's going for me right now.
Yeah. Just because you're home.
I'm safe. I've got, we've got food. The kids are here. Colleen's here. Everybody's healthy. Nobody appears to be sick. We're taking all the necessary precautions. Still working. Still on the radio every day with you guys, which is awesome. So I have that outlet. If I have a COVID confession, I feel a tad bit guilty.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I think a lot of us feel that way, especially, I don't even know if it's a confession. I've told my friends, I have a lot of friends in the service industry, a lot of friends in the theater world, and they're just not working right now.
Yeah.
I'm really fortunate to be working, and the best you can do, I think instead of feeling guilty, you try to feel grateful. Yeah. And the best you can do is just be there for them, whether it's a phone call, talk to them. I can't pay your rent for you, but I'd be happy to sit here and talk to you on FaceTime and make you laugh and feel better,
Right.
I would say if I had a COVID confession, it would be that I don't even know if it's a confession, but I realize how much I really do enjoy my alone time. And so spending a lot of time with my husband, although I have to say we've been getting along really, really well. I can't even think of an argument that we've had, but it's definitely nice when he still goes into work. And I feel bad because I don't want him to go into work. I want him to be able to work from home. But I also, at the same time, when he goes in, I'm like, okay. Because it just feels like my normal routine. Like I'm still getting my normal routine because he's still going in the same amount of days that he would normally go in.
Yes. Yeah. No, all of that makes total sense to me, Lauren. I think that makes total sense. And I think a lot of people, especially if they've got like a spouse or a partner or whatever who's still going to work, they're probably saying the same thing. There are a lot of people who are home with their spouse or partner for the first time in a long time where they've had to spend a lot of time with them, and it's not going well.
Oh, no.
Right? I
mean, we've heard that it's not going well.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it's funny because like around here, like my wife stays at home most of the time. So I'm in her space. This whole place is her office, and I am intruding, even though I'm down in the basement. I'm totally intruding.
Yeah. Totally.
And you have to respect that. You have to. It's funny, like when I get done here with you guys, I'll go upstairs to have lunch. And honestly, like the first 5 minutes, I'm just kind of like almost tiptoeing around. Hey, how's everybody doing? Checking the temperature of the room, so to speak. And then, proceeding with my day.
Yeah, like, can I be here? No. Should I not be here?
Should I not be here? Should I be within 5 feet of you? Or are you in the middle of a project right now? I don't know.
Right.
Because I'm
it
dumb as hell.
Feels like that. Yeah, no, but I mean, it definitely feels like that. But we're all going to be here, it looks like, through the 30th. So eventually it's all going to find its own. You're going to have your own pattern to develop while in quarantine.
That's so long. Like, just
do you think the
30th is another? I'm just saying, the 30th is another 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like this is week 8. And it's been 8 days.
Yep.
I mean,
and by the way, I think it's going to go longer than that.
Oh, I do too.
I think it's June 1st at the soonest.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. I think just for the sake. Well, because we are not going to peak, I think, for another 2 weeks yet.
I would agree.
In Michigan.
And as much as there's like the lot of positives that are coming out of things, like they're saying that area in Seattle where they think it like mostly sort of took off, like they've sort of seen like a leveling off of like the new cases. There's also something I just read the other day that says people that have had it and survived it are still testing positive for it 8 days after showing no symptoms. So like, it sounds like at least you can have it, get cured of it, and then still be carrying it with the potential to pass it on. So like, it doesn't seem like you're at that point where like you have it, you get rid of it, and it's gone. It's like a have it, get rid of it symptomatically, but you're still going to like carry it.
Well, we're about to be 3 weeks, right, from when Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson announced. That was on a Wednesday night. Was that 3 weeks ago?
I think we're 4 weeks now.
Okay, so they just got back to the States yesterday, and they still have to quarantine, and they were well enough to fly. So that kind of backs up your point as if they've been quarantining this whole time, and then they were allowed to get on a plane and come back, and now they still have to quarantine, then is it still in their systems? Are they testing positive and they're not telling us, or are they worried about their immune systems if they get it again? I mean, it is interesting.
Yeah, because I distinctly remember it was the 11th. March 11th was the last day we had lacrosse practice. And then we were supposed to have a game on the 15th, and that game got canceled. So, yeah, it would have been on the 11th, like you said, that the Tom Hanks thing happened. So, March 11th to the 31st, I mean, we're 20 days away from when Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson first said, like, hey, we're going to, lock ourselves down. And they're still locking themselves down.
Right.
But luckily, they have Rita Wilson's amazing rap abilities. So that will keep them entertained.
And if we're following China, they started reopening things, what was it, 2 months?
2 and a half, yeah.
But they've been really, I mean, when was their peak? The beginning of February, end of January?
I think about.
Yeah.
So we're still looking at then, if we're saying like March 11th is when it really took off, April, May, beginning of June.
Yeah.
Beginning of June, maybe when things start to open back up.
I mean, I have to say, despite people getting sick and despite the financial worries, I mean, it wouldn't bother me if it was the beginning of June. I feel like do whatever you have to do to knock it out so that the next time it comes back around, we have the vaccines and we have the proper care for it. Don't half knock it out and then have it come back and then have it come back,
Listen. Don't half-ass this. Whole-ass it.
Right.
Seriously. I mean, no, I completely agree with you, Lauren. Even if it takes 2-3 months, well, I'll just hunker down and do the best we can so we can get rid of the damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're out of time. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for listening to the show. Obviously, you can listen to us on Alexa and all your smart speakers. You can download the 96.3 WDVD app. You can listen online. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.